History is littered with financial crises. But what if the next one isn't a crisis at all? What if it's a meticulously planned transfer of wealth? The coming currency devaluation isn't a bug in the system, it's the main feature. Every empire swore its money was solid. Every generation trusted their savings would last. And every single time, history proved them wrong. This time, though, is different. This time, the playbook is out in the open for anyone willing to look. The rules are being written in invisible ink, and the game is being rigged in plain sight. They aren't just managing a decline, they're engineering a controlled demolition. This isn't about a recession. It's about a reset, a fundamental reshaping of who holds power and who gets left holding the bag. In this video, I'll show you the playbook the elite seem to be using to seize power in 2026, a year where multiple destabilizing forces are set to converge. More importantly, I'll reveal the countermaneuvers, the Machiavellian tactics of jurisdictional arbitrage and decentralized assets, that they themselves are using to insulate their wealth. This is your guide to understanding their strategy, so you can use their own tactics against them. Think of this not as a prophecy of doom, but as an operational briefing for those who refuse to become collateral damage. Section 1, The Echoes of History, a pattern of planned devaluation. To understand what's coming, you have to understand what's already happened. The blueprint for 2026 wasn't drawn up in a boardroom last year, it's been perfected over millennia. The elite don't predict the future, they study the past. They know that while technology changes, human nature and the mechanics of power don't. What we're witnessing isn't new. It's a recurring, three-act play of wealth confiscation, and we're about to see its most modern and ruthless performance yet. Let's start where it all began, Rome. Act 1, the Roman Heist, debasement as imperial policy. The Roman Empire, at its peak, was the most powerful economic force on earth. Its currency, the denarius, was the dollar of its day, a coin of nearly pure silver, trusted from Britain to Persia. But empires are expensive. Endless wars, sprawling bureaucracies, and lavish lifestyles for the ruling class created a fiscal black hole. Instead of raising taxes on the wealthy and risking a revolt from their own class, Roman emperors found a much sneakier tool: currency debasement. It started slowly. Under Emperor Nero, around 64 AD, the silver content of the denarius was cut from 95% to about 90%. A small change, hardly noticeable. But it let the state mint more coins from the same amount of silver, basically printing money to pay its bills. This wasn't an accident. It was a calculated policy. The state could pay soldiers and fund projects without the politically toxic move of taxing the powerful. The cost was hidden, paid by every person holding the currency. Over the next 2 centuries, this became the standard playbook. By the 3rd century AD, the once proud denarius had less than 5% silver. It was a bronze coin with a thin, deceptive silver wash. The result? Hyperinflation. The price of wheat skyrocketed by thousands of percent. People's life savings, held in what they thought was sound money, were wiped out. But here's the key: not everyone lost. The elites, the politically connected, they didn't store their wealth in the currency of the masses. They held real assets, vast farming estates, gold, and other physical goods that couldn't be debased. While the Roman middle class was obliterated, the elite used the chaos to consolidate their power. They bought up land for pennies on the dollar from desperate farmers. They paid off their old debts with the new, worthless coins. The debasement wasn't just a crisis response, it was a tool that transferred real wealth from the many to the few. It was a quiet, state-sanctioned heist that set a precedent for centuries. Act 2, the Weimar nightmare, hyperinflation as a political weapon. Fast forward to the 1920s. Germany, crushed by the Treaty of Versailles, was ordered to pay astronomical war reparations. The Weimar Republic faced the same choice as Rome: impose crushing taxes and risk total collapse, or fire up the printing presses. They chose the latter. In 1921, $1 was worth about 75 German papier marks. By November 1923, $1 was worth 4.2 trillion marks. The scale of this is hard to even imagine. Workers were paid twice a day, rushing to stores to spend their money before it became worthless by dinner time. People used wheelbarrows full of cash to buy a loaf of bread. Society itself disintegrated. The middle class saw its savings, pensions, and insurance policies turn to dust. Mainstream history calls this a tragic but unavoidable outcome. While the war and reparations were the catalyst, the full story is more sinister. The hyperinflation wasn't just mismanagement, it was strategically exploited. Powerful industrialists and landowners, whose wealth was in factories, property, and foreign currency, thrived. They took out huge loans in marks and paid them back months later for practically nothing. They bought out struggling competitors for a fraction of their real value. The state itself benefited in one key way: it wiped out its internal war debt. The bonds it had sold to its own citizens were now worthless. It was a massive transfer of wealth from patriotic Germans back to the state and the connected elites who knew the game. The psychological trauma of this shattered public faith in institutions and paved the way for the rise of extremism. The Weimar hyperinflation wasn't just an economic event, it was a societal re-engineering that benefited those who held real assets. Act 3, the Nixon Shock, the stealth global devaluation. The third act is maybe the boldest of all, because it happened on a global scale and its effects are the direct foundation of our system today. After World War II, the Bretton Woods Agreement pegged the US dollar to gold at $35 an ounce, and all other currencies were pegged to the dollar. It was a stable system. Any country could, in theory, trade its dollars for US gold. This worked for a while. But by the 1960s, the US was spending massively on the Vietnam War and large social programs. More and more dollars flowed overseas. Countries like France and Switzerland got nervous, seeing the US print far more dollars than it had gold to back them. So they started asking for their gold back. US gold reserves were plummeting. President Nixon had a choice: implement painful austerity and risk a deep recession, or break the promise that held the entire global financial system together. On August 15, 1971, Nixon announced he was temporarily suspending the dollar's convertibility to gold. Temporary meant permanent. In a single move, the US defaulted on its promise. The dollar, and all currencies pegged to it, became pure fiat, backed by nothing but government decree. The fallout was immediate. The 1970s became a lost decade of brutal stagflation, high inflation with a stagnant economy. The value of savings held in cash was decimated. The price of gold, once fixed at $35, soared to over $800 an ounce by 1980. Who benefited? The US government, which could now print money without constraint. Debtors, who could repay loans with devalued dollars. And sophisticated investors, who saw the writing on the wall and moved into hard assets like gold and real estate, made fortunes. The Nixon Shock was a global currency devaluation, a stealth default. It proved that when faced with a choice between discipline and devaluation, governments will always choose to devalue the savings of their citizens. These three events, Rome, Weimar, and the Nixon Shock, aren't just stories. They're data points. They show a clear, repeating pattern. Fiscal trouble leads to currency debasement, which leads to a massive wealth transfer. And it's the exact playbook being prepared for 2026. Section 2, the modern machination, the controlled demolition of 2026. So how does this history lesson apply today? The pattern is clear: spending binges lead to currency debasement, which leads to a wealth transfer. Now, look around. The scale of today's fiscal excess makes Rome look responsible. The tools for debasement are just more sophisticated. And 2026 is shaping up to be the focal point where decades of reckless policy might finally converge. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's an analysis of public data and official projections. The elites aren't hiding their intentions, they're broadcasting them, confident most people are too distracted to understand. Let's break down the modern machination. The powder keg, a system primed for detonation. The global financial system is sitting on the largest debt pile in human history. The numbers are staggering. By early 2026, the US national debt is hovering around $35 to $36 trillion. Official projections from the Congressional Budget Office, CBO, show an unsustainable trajectory, with the debt to GDP ratio already over 100% and projected to hit 120% by 2036. The problem isn't just the total amount, it's the interest payments. Net interest on the debt is on track to surpass $1 trillion annually, threatening to consume more of the budget than national defense. This creates a death spiral, borrowing more money just to pay the interest on old debt. And it's not just a US problem. Global public debt has rocketed past $100 trillion. Western nations everywhere have made promises, pensions, healthcare, that are mathematically impossible to keep with current tax revenues. For the last 15 years, the answer to every problem has been the printing press. Since 2008, central banks have engaged in quantitative easing, a clinical term for creating currency out of thin air to buy government bonds. It was sold as a temporary fix but became a permanent feature. This is the modern equivalent of Nero shaving silver from the denarius. It's a slow, methodical devaluation of every dollar, euro, and yen, creating huge asset bubbles that benefit the wealthy while the cost of living soars for everyone else. While the West prints, the rest of the world is noticing. We're seeing a quiet rebellion against the US dollar. The dollar's share of global reserves has fallen from over 70% in the 2000s to around 58 to 59%. Why? Countries are losing faith. They see the debt, the printing, and the weaponization of the dollar system through sanctions, and they're looking for an exit. What are they buying instead? Gold. Central banks have been buying gold at a historic pace, with purchases hitting peaks of over 800 to 1,000 tons annually in recent years. This isn't speculation. It's a strategic move by the world's ultimate financial insiders to diversify away from fiat currency. When central bankers are dumping your currency to buy gold, they are telling you everything you need to know. The trigger, why 2026 is the convergence point. A system this fragile can't last forever. It needs a trigger. And 2026 is emerging as that critical juncture for several reasons. On the surface, mainstream economic forecasts for 2026 look calm, predicting moderate global growth between 2.7% and 3.2%. But this surface calm ignores the crushing weight of debt and rising geopolitical friction. The appearance of stability is the perfect cover for a controlled demolition. It lets the everything is fine narrative continue while the system's foundations are being removed. Geopolitical tensions are escalating. The rise of blocs like BRICS, which are actively exploring trade outside the dollar, is a direct challenge to the post-World War II financial order. This de-dollarization is no longer a fringe theory, it's an open policy goal for a huge portion of the world's population. The combination of fragile consensus, a mountain of debt, and a fracturing world makes 2026 a year of extreme vulnerability. It's the year the slow burn of devaluation could easily accelerate into a full-blown currency crisis, the perfect pretext for the final phase of the plan. The weaponized reset, Central Bank Digital Currencies, CBDCs. If currency devaluation is the strategy, Central Bank Digital Currencies, CBDCs, are the endgame. They're being sold as a convenient, modern upgrade. They are anything but. CBDCs could represent the single greatest threat to individual liberty and financial freedom in history. As of early 2026, over 130 countries, representing 98% of global GDP, are exploring a CBDC. This is a coordinated global push, from the digital euro to China's digital yuan. So what is a CBDC? Instead of holding cash or a bank deposit, you'd hold digital dollars directly with the central bank. The key difference is the architecture. Unlike cash, which is anonymous, a CBDC is a centralized ledger controlled by the state. This enables a terrifying level of control. This is where the plan gets truly Machiavellian. While it is not part of any official public plans, the technological capability for programmability is the ultimate prize for central planners. A fully implemented CBDC could, in theory, be programmed with rules. Your money could have an expiration date to force spending. It could be restricted from buying things the state deems undesirable, too much fuel, certain foods, or protest materials. It could be used to automatically deduct taxes, fines, or even enforce a social credit score. In a crisis, a bail-in could be done with a button click, confiscating a percentage of everyone's money to save the system. The monetary reset you hear about isn't a return to gold. It's a transition to this new system of total control. The currency devaluation of 2026 could serve as the perfect crisis to justify it. As the old system buckles and people's savings are wiped out, the government will step in with a solution, a new, stable, digital currency. Desperate and impoverished, most people will accept it, walking willingly into a digital cage. This is the great wealth transfer and power seizure of 2026. It's a three-step process. First, create impossible levels of debt. Second, devalue the currency to manage the debt, wiping out the middle class. Third, in the chaos, offer a solution, a new digital currency that institutionalizes total state control. This isn't an accident. It's a plan. And it's already in motion. Section 3, the countermaneuver, the sovereign elite playbook. This isn't just a prophecy of doom. It's a playbook. Understanding the demolition is the first step, but it's not enough. The elites planning this reset are also taking steps to insulate themselves and profit from the chaos. They operate with a sovereign elite mindset, seeing nations as service providers and currencies as temporary tools. They're not waiting for the system to fall apart, they're positioning themselves beyond its reach. The good news is, their strategies aren't secrets. They're based on timeless principles of wealth preservation. By studying their countermaneuvers, you can adopt the same principles to build your own financial fortress. These strategies fall into three pillars: sovereign digital estates, hard commodity fortresses, and jurisdictional arbitrage. Tactic 1: Sovereign digital estates, building your digital fortress while the masses are herded towards CBDCs. The elite are embracing the opposite: decentralized digital assets. The strategy is to build a sovereign digital estate, a portfolio of assets you control absolutely, that can't be frozen, seized, or devalued. The cornerstone here is Bitcoin. Forget the narrative of speculative bubbles. The sophisticated view of Bitcoin is as pristine digital real estate in a world of crumbling fiat currencies. Its most important feature is its fixed supply. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. No central bank can print more. This makes it the ultimate hedge against the very debasement at the heart of the 2026 plan. Institutional adoption is no longer a promise, it's a reality. The launch of spot Bitcoin ETFs opened the floodgates for institutional capital. This isn't just retail speculation, it's the smart money building a position in the lifeboat. How do you do it? The key is absolute self-custody. Not your keys, not your coins. This means moving assets off exchanges into secure hardware wallets you control. For ultimate security, the elite use multi-signature, multi-sig, wallets, which require multiple keys to authorize a transaction. You could store one key at home, one in a bank vault, and one with a trusted person in another country. This makes your assets incredibly resilient to theft or coercion. Beyond Bitcoin, privacy coins like Monero or Zcash offer another layer. In a world of total financial surveillance, the ability to transact anonymously will be a superpower. Building a sovereign digital estate is about creating a parallel financial existence, immune to the policies of any single nation. Tactic 2: Hard commodity fortresses, owning the real world. The digital world is only half the picture. The sovereign elite mindset never loses sight of the tangible. When fiat currencies evaporate, real things hold their value. This is the principle of the hard commodity fortress. The most timeless part of this fortress is physical gold and silver. As we've seen, central banks are buying it for a reason. Gold is the ultimate monetary asset that has outlasted every fiat currency in history. Some analysts are even making speculative forecasts of gold reaching prices of $5,000 or even $7,000 an ounce as currency devaluation accelerates. While speculative, it shows a growing understanding of the massive repricing that could occur. Crucially, this means owning physical gold and silver, bars and coins in your possession or in a secure private vault. Paper claims on gold, like many ETFs, carry risks that could blow up in a real crisis. But the hard asset fortress goes beyond metals. The truly wealthy understand productive assets, farmland, timberland, and water rights. These aren't just passive stores of value, they produce essential goods. In a crisis where supply chains break down, the person who owns the land that grows the food holds real power. These assets thrive on inflation, and owning a piece of the real, productive world is a foundational element of surviving a monetary reset. Tactic 3: Jurisdictional arbitrage, the art of being untouchable. This is the most Machiavellian and powerful tactic in the elite playbook, jurisdictional arbitrage. The idea is simple: structure your life and assets to exploit the differences in laws between countries. It's the ultimate expression of the sovereign mindset, viewing the world as a menu of options. The first layer is a second passport. A second passport from a stable, neutral country is the ultimate insurance policy. It gives you the legal right to live, work, and hold assets elsewhere. If your home country imposes capital controls or becomes politically unstable, you have a legal exit. The second, more complex layer involves legal structures like offshore trusts. This is how the ultra-wealthy make their assets legally untouchable. By placing assets into an irrevocable trust in a stable offshore jurisdiction like Switzerland or the Cook Islands, you legally separate yourself from them. They no longer belong to you, they belong to the trust. This creates an almost impenetrable legal shield. If you're sued or a government tries to seize your assets, they legally don't belong to you. This isn't about illegal tax evasion, it's sophisticated, legal asset protection. The hybrid strategy combines all three pillars. Imagine someone with Bitcoin in a multi-sig wallet with keys spread across 3 countries. They have physical gold stored in Singapore. Their businesses and real estate are owned by an offshore trust based in Nevis. And they hold 3 different passports. This person is, for all practical purposes, sovereign. No single government can control them. A currency collapse at home is an inconvenience, not a catastrophe. This is the goal. This is the counter-maneuver. It's about detaching your fate from the fate of any single nation and becoming a global, decentralized entity in your own right. This is how the elite will not only survive 2026 but could use it as a massive opportunity for wealth consolidation. The Great Reset of 2026, the engineered currency devaluation, is a weapon aimed at the unprepared. It's designed to consolidate power and transfer wealth from the middle class to a global elite. The historical precedents are clear, and the modern mechanics are unfolding before our eyes. The system isn't breaking by accident, it's being reshaped by design. But knowing the playbook is the first step to nullifying its power over you. The strategies of the elite, building digital fortresses, securing hard assets, and practicing jurisdictional arbitrage, are not just for billionaires. The principles are scalable. You don't need a private jet to get a second passport, and you don't need to be a millionaire to own Bitcoin in a hardware wallet or hold physical gold. The required shift is in your mindset. You must stop thinking like a citizen of a single nation and start thinking like a sovereign individual on a global stage. You have to recognize that the financial system you were taught to trust is being deliberately dismantled. The choice is to be a pawn in their game, a victim of the coming devaluation, herded into a system of total control, or to become a player. By adopting their strategies, you can position yourself to not only preserve your wealth but to gain freedom while the old system crumbles for everyone else. The coming chaos is a fire that will either consume you or forge you. The choice is yours. If you're ready to move from theory to practice and build your own financial fortress, subscribe to this channel. In our next video, we'll do a deep dive into setting up your first sovereign digital estate, step by step. The time to act is now.